How's it going, everyone? It's Harvey from Mother SpongeBob 1000, and in this video, of course, we're going to focus on the potential major Thanksgiving weekend snowstorm that could impact the Northeast and the Midwest. But before I begin, make sure to subscribe if you want to see more what they call it. So, compared to the video I made yesterday, we've had some recent developments with the computer models regarding the exact trajectory of this upcoming Thanksgiving snowstorm. More specifically, the European model, where now the European model is a little bit more confident than before that there may be a more significant snowstorm for the Northeast. However, the common trend we have been seeing with both of the computer models is that they want to take the heaviest snow further just to the north of the United States border. So the heaviest of snow misses out on the Midwest and the Northeast in both of the computer model scenario. And while for the snow lovers out there, that might sound like a disappointment, however, there's still a lot of days to go for the forecast to change. There's still a lot of time to really iron out the forecast, so there's still a possibility we could very well see the most significant snow move through the Midwest and the Northeast. What will be the key determinant is how far south this jet stream will dip. I was talking about that in my previous video, where what really will determine whether or not we'll experience a major snowstorm or not is how far south the jet stream dips. And while both of the computer models are now trending that on the back side of this low pressure system, we will see a significant enough jet stream dip to create enough instability for this low pressure system to at least become powerful. What's still uncertain is how much cold air will be centered just to the east of this low pressure system, because we do see in the European model scenario the jet stream is a little bit too far north, right around the Northeast, to the point where most of the heaviest of snow will stay mainly towards eastern Canada rather than stay southward into the Northeast. However, despite this, we still do see heavy snow throughout a large portion of the interior Northeast, and we see, interestingly enough, another low pressure system develop as a result of this enhanced amount of instability that's being brought about by this low pressure system, where we do see this another trough just developed just off the southeast Atlantic coast, and that could be the trigger for a significant snowstorm right around the Northeast. But again, we see that a lot of the coastal cities in this scenario miss out on the heaviest of snow because the cold air is a little bit too far north, as it seems like this ridge, this polar ridge, is staying a little bit too far north to bring those that northerly wind further far south enough to where any precipitation will be snowfall further southward, as you see that most of the snow is a little bit further northward. So what will determine if we're going to see a widespread event is really the position of this ridge. And what will determine the position of this ridge is the next few clipper systems that move through, because of course we're seeing strong lake effect snow right now throughout the Great Lakes, and that's as a result of strong northwesterly winds that are creating those lake effect snow bands, of course, thanks to the high instability between that very cold air and the warmer lake sea surface temperatures, as that instability is what's causing lake effect snow right now. And we do see that there's going to be several clipper systems moving through the northern United States, and what will be the key is how strong the troughs moving just north of the United States will be, because that will determine how strong northerly winds will be to really determine the position of this jet stream by the time this low pressure system comes around. And that will be very, very key in determining if we're going to see a significant snowstorm that will bring the heaviest of snowfall to the United States rather than Canada. And that's highly uncertain at this time. It's going to take several days for the computer models to iron out that forecast, but we do see a heavy amount of snow based on the European models depiction, but we see most of the heavy snow is centered towards Canada, and we see a powerful storm as well, which is something different that we didn't see with the European model yesterday, where the European model wasn't really developing much of anything, but we now see the pressure drop down to 977 millibars, which is equivalent to a category 1 or category 2 hurricane, so it's quite powerful, and we see this drop down to the low 970s as it approaches Canada. The only thing is that it's a little bit too far north to bring the heaviest of snowfall to at least a large portion of the Midwest and the Northeast, but there's still uncertainty, of course, regarding the strength as well. There's certainly still that possibility that maybe the jet stream doesn't dip as far south as anticipated, and this low pressure system doesn't develop as rapidly as anticipated. Still a lot of time to iron out the forecast. Again, what will determine whether or not we see a significant storm is how strong the troughs will be, the Clipper systems, because that will determine how much instability we'll see in the United States. Now, taking a look at how much snowfall the European model is exactly forecasting when it comes to this upcoming snowstorm, if I were to continue to move forward, we do see a heavy amount of snow throughout the interior northeast region, where we do see a large area experience 6 to 12 inches of snow, especially right around upstate New York. And we even see some heavier snow bands right around the northern Midwest as well, where we do see the northern portion of Minnesota, Michigan, Wisconsin is hovering around 3 to 6 and 6 to 12 in some localized areas, and we do even see some snow extending to Cleveland, Ohio as well, and we could maybe see an inch of snow out of this right around Chicago. And we do see that for the coastal northeast cities, you guys are missing out on most of the accumulating snowfall, but again, still highly uncertain. We're going to need to see how much cold air is centered in the northeast to really determine if we're going to see a significant snowstorm for the United States or not. So don't let your guard down just yet. That's pretty much what I'm stating in this video, because a lot could change, because I'm going 7 days out with the forecast. Now, take a look at what the GFS model is forecasting, and it's very similar to European model, which may mean that there's higher confidence that the heaviest of snow will stay towards northern Canada. But again, when we're talking about something 7 days out, we can't say anything for certain, but we still do see snow. Let me go to 18Z run, the latest run actually, and based on this, we do see heavy snow right around Minnesota and extending to the northern Great Lakes as well. But we see the heaviest of the snowfall is of course centered towards Canada, with mainly the interior northeast only getting lake effect snow out of this storm. So a lot to take a look at over the next several days. And we do see another interesting thing is that unlike the European model, the GFS model doesn't really want to develop a strong low pressure system just to the east of this, as while it does expect some convection, it expects the strongest of the storm to be more focused in on the main trough rather than on this trough, which is definitely different from the European model's scenario, where and that would make it maybe a little bit less likely we'll see snow if the GFS model scenario is correct, at least for the United States, because we don't see this low pressure system just to the south of it as strong. And another thing is that the GFS model is taking the jet stream a lot further northward than the European model. This may be due to the fact that the southerly winds might be a little bit stronger in the GFS model scenario. So again, still a lot still a lot of factors we're going to need to pay close attention to, but I'll keep you guys updated regarding any sort of changes with the forecast. So just keep an eye on this. I'd say that a snowstorm of some kind is likely headed this Thanksgiving weekend for the United States, and it's definitely more likely the further northward you go. The question really remains, how far south will that storm go to really determine if we'll see a significant and widespread snowstorm for the areas further southward. And here's a GFS forecast model run when it comes to snowfall. We do see that still a large portion of the Midwest experiences heavy snow out of this, where a large portion of Minnesota and Wisconsin experiences 3 to 6 inches, as well as Michigan. And we see some snow extend to the interior northeast as well, more specifically closer to the Great Lakes region, and we see scattered snow showers throughout Ohio and Indiana as well. But it isn't as significant as what the GFS model was stating, let's say compared to yesterday's run. But still a lot of time for the forecast change, so I'll keep you guys updated. Now, another thing we're going to need to pay close attention to is the North Atlantic oscillation. And as you could see, we do see that there's a pretty significant dip right around Thanksgiving weekend, which is another big difference compared to the yesterday's forecast when it comes to the North Atlantic oscillation. However, it's still, I'd say, relatively close to neutral, to a point where it won't really lean on any sort of direction when it comes to negative or positive phase. So we might see mainly neutral North Atlantic oscillation conditions rather than negative North Atlantic oscillation conditions. But there still could be a higher possibility now of major jet stream dip, which of course could allow which could increase the chance that the United States will receive snowfall by Thanksgiving weekend. And here's my forecast when it comes to this potential major Thanksgiving snowstorm. So I did shift my forecast to where the heaviest of snow right now would be centered towards the Midwest. And if you're in the blue, it's still, I'd say, uncertain whether you're going to experience major snow or not. There's still a possibility you might not experience any snow, but again, there's still that possibility you could experience major snow depending on the exact trajectory of this trough moving through. I'll keep you guys updated over the next several days regarding this snowstorm, as there's still a lot of time for the forecast to change. So for now, just be aware of this. I'd say snow is likely for the northern Great Lakes region as well as the interior northeast. It does become more uncertain just south of that, but I'll keep you guys updated. But anyways, guys, thank you guys for watching. Make sure to subscribe if you want to see more weather content, and I hope you guys have a great day.